After more than 1 year of negotiations, nurses at Providence Sacred Heart approved a new contract. This morning, a closer look at the new deal.
We're seeing drier skies to end your work week before snow returns this weekend.
The right of students and teachers to freely exercise their faith will always be protected, including the right to pray.
President Trump has announced new guidelines on prayer in public schools. These new guidelines protect teachers and students' First Amendment right to pray in schools without being punished by administration.
Washington State is one step closer to a plastic bag ban. This comes just months after a similar proposal stalled in the House.
I have to try to win this thing.
We've got a ton of Seahawks fans here, but one very special Packers fan lives amongst us. We'll introduce you to him.
Up with KREM starts right now with Jen York, Joshua Robinson, Evan Nurani, and Dana Marie McNichol.
Well, 5 a.m. now. Good morning, and thanks so much for being up with KREM this morning. Well, you might notice a new face today. We're welcoming our newest team member, Joshua Robinson.
Good morning.
That's right. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. I'm still trying to figure my login onto this guy.
We'll get you set up, right?
Good morning.
Exactly. The 5 a.m. we're just kind of running around the whole time. But this morning we're getting to know our new anchor here, of course. You are coming from our sister station in Buffalo, right?
That's right.
So we want you to tell us some things that we should know about you. We're going to be checking in at various points through the morning, but we're going to start right now with something that we should know about you, Joshua.
Yeah, one other thing I've shared with you guys very publicly, it's on my desk already, is that I love curling. It's actually a sport that I picked up in Buffalo, had a lot of fun doing it. I actually, about a couple weeks before I came out here, I got my first league championship, so it was really fun. Picked it up really fast. But there's some fun curling stuff coming up in Spokane. So when I found out that that was happening next month, I was like, this is a sign.
So it is a sign that you were meant to be here, right?
First time I looked up this station, I was like, oh, what is this? And it said Spokane. I don't want to give it away because we got the story coming up next month, but it's some cool curling stuff here.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really fun.
I want you to bring Jen and I curling sometime and teach us the ropes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're
I'm
gonna
more
have
there for
cameras
the
too.
fashionable pants, right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, like the checkerboards, the really sort of offensive, like, designs.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I love it. Okay.
Well, we are just getting welcoming here Joshua to the show. Of course, we're going to be getting to know you more throughout the program today. And of course, you're with us now from here on out. So we're happy to have you.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm glad to be here. We're excited.
All right, here at 5:02, turning our attention to the weather.
That's
Evan, my other favorite man here in the studio.
That's right, exactly. There's
What are we
finally
looking at?
more. We have so many, we've got Dana Marie, we've got Nicole, we've got you. We finally have another guy to join me
There
in
you
the studio.
go, in your tribe here.
Exactly, right? The view outside as we start off your 5 o'clock hour is pretty quiet. We've got mostly dry skies out there as we start off your morning. Of course, this is in contrast to the snow that came last night into this morning. It mostly came last night, though. You can see how that wave came through just across eastern Washington and then making its way into North Idaho. We originally expected this to be farther off to the east of us, but instead, hey, brought some snow to portions of eastern Washington where we were not originally expecting snow. So it came through last night, brought about 1.5 inches to Spokane. All in all, for your day, though, it's all tapered off. So your Friday today, finally a dry day after 9 consecutive days of snow, of recorded snow on the ground that has fallen throughout the last almost week and a half. We are going to see dry skies for the day. 31 degrees is that forecast high for today. We've got clouds that are going to be mixed in with the sun. We are not expecting much of the sun to come out, but if you get lucky, consider yourself one of the lucky ones, because otherwise we're expecting a significant amount of cloud cover throughout the day. For the weekend forecast, 35 degrees for your Saturday. Sunday, 40 degrees. The downside is that this dry streak does not last long. By Saturday morning, we see snow return to the forecast, 1 to 3 inches expected, with some spots seeing rain mixed in. Sunday, skies dry up, patchy fog possible in the morning and nighttime hours, but otherwise a mostly cloudy day and a little bit warmer into your Sunday. 5:04 right now, and for the first time, Joshua, over to you.
Sounds good, right?
I like it.
Thanks, Evan. 5:04 now this morning, and the Providence Sacred Heart nurse strike is officially off the table. Nurses voted to approve an agreement with the hospital after months of negotiations. Nicole Hernandez is in the newsroom right now with the details. Good morning, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, Joshua. So the Washington State Nurses Association says that nurses came out in, quote, unprecedented numbers to vote on this contract last night. In the end, they approved it, ending months of negotiations and threats to strike. Now, this contract will be good through 2022. Earlier this month, Providence and the nurses union spent 33 hours over a 2-day period negotiating, and those negotiations are what postponed the nurses' original strike date. When that happened, we talked to a nurse who said they were relieved that they were getting close to an agreement. So here's a breakdown of what we know their tentative agreement from earlier this month gives nurses. It will improve staffing and security in hospitals. It protects the nurses' paid time off and benefits. It limits Providence's ability to raise their employees' health benefit premiums. Nurses will get a 10% raise between now and 2022. And lastly, it promises a $2,100 bonus for full-time nurses. Now, their vote ended last night around 9:30. The nurses union will be giving more details about that vote later this morning. So stay up to date. Head over to KREM.com or our KREM 2 mobile app. In the newsroom, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
All right, 5:05 now. Well, some South Hill homeowners say plows have yet to reach their neighborhood. This is near 57th Avenue and Cook Street in Spokane. They say Spokane County crews never reached their cul-de-sac. They say they pitched in for a private company now to plow their area. Their neighborhood.
We kind of mostly have to rely on either the snow melting or we just do it ourselves.
County spokesperson says the neighborhood is near a cliff, and right now crews are clearing drifting snow in that area before tackling the streets. A new U.S. Department of Transportation study is revealing some troublesome stats about Washington State. Data shows our state ranks 8th highest for fatal drunk driving wrecks. A Spokane prosecutor says the county is seeing an increase in DUIs annually. They say police filed 70 DUIs each month for the past 2 years, and they say last year's total was more than 1,300. Gonzaga students are enjoying the sweet taste of victory. To celebrate the men's basketball team's #1 ranking, they dined on cupcakes. Yesterday, they formed a giant #1 out of the sweet treats. It is the team's 4th week at the top of the AP Top 25 poll. By the way, the men beat Santa Clara last night, 104-54. Well, that's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
Thanks, Jen. President Donald Trump has announced new guidelines regarding prayer in public schools, and these new guidelines protect teachers and students' First Amendment right to pray in schools without being punished by administration. Now, with Trump vowing to protect prayer in public schools, he is taking steps to give religious organizations easier access to federal programs. And this morning, we want you to weigh in. Should religion and school be separated? Let us know what you think by voting in the KREM 2 mobile app. Now, with these new guidelines, school officials could deal with consequences if they punish someone for practicing their religion.
This afternoon, we're proudly announcing historic steps to protect the First Amendment right to pray in public schools. So you have the right to pray. And that's a very important and powerful right. There's nothing more important than that, I would say.
And this is the federal government's first updated guidance on school prayer since 2003. Right now, it is legal for students to pray alone or in groups at school, but they can't force others to join them. Public schools themselves are barred from initiating or sponsoring religious activities. Of course, this morning we want you to weigh in, as we mentioned, with President Trump making that announcement on guidelines for prayer in public schools. Do you think religion and school should be separated? You can vote right now on KREM 2 mobile app. It's always going to be a controversial subject, I think. That separation of church and state from the beginnings of the country, but you know, everything changes all the time and some things stay the same.
Yeah, and we invite you to weigh in this morning. If you want to leave an extended thought this morning, you can also do that on the Up with KREM Facebook page. Joshua, thank you. Well, 5:08 now, a new year and a new diet fad. MilitaryDiet.com says it involves hot dogs. Authors claim it can help people lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And despite it coming from Military.com, it's not a military diet. They say dieters eat breakfast and lunch like normal, but then for dinner, they eat 2 hot dogs without buns, 3 ounces of meat, and then 1 cup of tuna. After 3 days on the plan, dieters take 4 days off and then repeat the process.
I don't understand.
I think it's just
yeah.
What's the
it's
purpose?
a spin on a protein diet. That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
people just love hot dogs. Just say you love hot
Just
dogs.
eat, yeah.
We eat hot dogs for 3 days a week.
But
is
see,
what
for
they're
me,
saying.
like, I have to have the bun. I'm not just gonna eat the hot dog on its own.
Yeah.
It's the best part. And then, but then I don't understand. Then you mix tuna in.
Yeah, that's where it kind of threw me too.
So you finish your 2 hot dogs, eat some tuna, and that, like,
Gross.
why not just incorporate more fruits and vegetables into the diet, the normal,
Get your
thing.
protein elsewhere.
Exactly, right?
Can you just imagine a plate of just meat? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mind.
and especially the processed meat of hot dogs are the most processed meat you're gonna find. So I'd rather just stick with like maybe some chicken.
Yeah. I only
Seems
think
easier.
of hot dogs when I go to see like a game.
Yeah,
a pro game.
baseball, exactly.
And speaking of, the term sports fan, by the way, is based on the word fanatic. And we're seeing just how far fans are going to go for their teams this morning. For the NFL's 100th anniversary, 100 fans, that is, of every NFL team were asked what they would sacrifice not only to show loyalty to their teams, but for a trip to watch their team play in the Super Bowl. Now, 35% said they'd give up drinking for a year. 28% said they'd give up their favorite food for a year. 21% said they would give up all of their vacation time from work. All of this just to see their favorite football team in the biggest game of the year. I can say this, I watched the LA Kings. I'm a big LA Kings fan. I watched them win the Cup in person. It was incredible. So I can see why people might want to, but on my vacation time, I don't know about that.
It's a hard pass. No.
And earlier in the week, we had a story about how if you donated blood, it was that easy. Just donate blood once, and you can get in the running for tickets to the Super Bowl. So maybe that should be a consideration instead of giving up your holiday time and your favorite food and drinks. Just go donate some blood, right?
Give back to
Give back.
get back.
See, exactly.
Maybe.
A simple thought, but I mean, that's the thing. I've never been too big on sports, so I just don't. I don't think I would be able to sacrifice things for a full year like that.
Right, but isn't it interesting to see the difference?
Yeah.
That some people prioritize things like that
Exactly.
over everyone else. I
Jen?
guess that's why they ask polls like
You gonna
this.
give up a year of your favorite food?
Absolutely not. I love my Cougs. Don't get me wrong. I'm a die hard, but there's probably slim to little chance of me giving up anything to
Exactly.
go to anything.
Tailgating food too.
I love tailgate
Exactly,
food.
right? And then there's
yeah.
also always alcohol involved that go into these games. So it's like, if you got to give that up for a year, then is it even that fun? I don't know. I can't decide. All right, 5:12 right now. We've got a quick break in store, but coming up after that, we're talking what the forecast looks like. There is some more snow on the way. Find out just how much coming up.
And Washington State is one step closer to a plastic bag ban. In the next half hour, what obstacle stands in the way from it going into effect?